welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is episode 155. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click the little red subscribe button down below, and if you click the little bell icon next to it, it will let you know anytime I post a video, which is on Saturdays and usually on Wednesdays. Unless, like what happened last week, where the post office did not deliver in all of their snow, rain, and sleet and dark of night. Somehow they lost my package. So last Wednesday's video actually became live on Thursday. So with that, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back each week in spite of me and my quirky little personality. We're having a lot of fun, and this week's podcast is jam-packed full of stuff to share with you guys. Not so much finished things, although I do have some finished things, but just a lot is going on. If you notice, like I said, it's dark here. It's because it's already dark outside. I'm late getting my filming done because it's been so busy. So let's get started. I have a finished object. This is a cowl. There it is. Now, I will say something about this. This is a knit crate pattern, and I love the pattern of it. If you see, it has a zigzag, which I really, really like. The thing I do not like, look at how it's curling on both sides here. Now, there's a reason it's curling on both sides. This is a rib stitch, and if I get this close, you can see it's a 2x1 rib. Rib stitches you find at your sleeves, at the cuffs, and at the bottoms of a sweater and around the neck, and usually on a cowl. However, when you do a rib stitch, normally you knit the rib stitch a size smaller needles. You use a smaller, one size down in needle size, so that it does not do this. Because what happens with a rib stitch, because you are going back and forth between the needles to create a knit and a purl, your stitches are wider. So as a result, most patterns take you down a needle size so that it kind of doesn't do that and pucker. So this one did not. I read it over and I thought, okay, well, I guess they know what they're doing. So I did what they told me to do, and I'm hoping I can block this out so that it doesn't curl on the edges, because it's really not supposed to do that. But otherwise, I really like this pattern, and this yarn is gorgeous. It was called Hearth. That was the colorway. And the yarn is Wisdom Yarns, which is put out by, let's see, is it Universal? Yeah, Universal Yarns. And it's called Poems, and the colorway was Hearth. Now, I am going to make 2 more of these because these are Christmas presents. This one is either for my daughter or my daughter-in-law. I'm not sure which one. And then this is one I would tend to say is for my daughter-in-law because she's blonde hair and blue-eyed, and pinks really look good on her. But this is a pink and a gray. And it has like a real light, it looks a little yellow, but it's actually just a very, very pale pink. So actually I'd like this one for myself, but that would be bad. I don't need one. I take that back. I am going to make one for myself, but I'm doing more neutral colors. I don't need anything pink and gray because I've got pink and gray, but it is pretty. I like pink. So anyway, there it is. So that is going to be the next cowl. However, I will be going down a needle size in order to have this look better. And I did actually have yarn left. It didn't use as much as what it called for, and I actually made this a little bit bigger. I probably could have put an extra row of the zigzag. I did 1 extra row, but I probably could have gotten a second row, but I didn't want to cut it too short. This is what I've got left. And this will be getting entered into the holiday along, which I will tell you about later in the podcast. This will be going in for Team Knit, and it is roughly about 220 yards total. So that will be going in. Is that right? That might not be right. I might be lying. There's 109 yards per skein. I totally lied there. It's more like 159 yards because I used one whole skein, and this is probably maybe a third, half to a third of a skein left. So I'll have to figure out it. I'll have to weigh this and figure out how many grams I've got left. So at least I don't want to be a cheating team knit. That would be bad. So we won't do that. I will measure it and come up with the exact figures there so I can enter it. I'm not entering in the giveaway itself, but I'm entering into the team knit and team crochet mileage stuff, which again, I will talk about at the end of the podcast. Now, my other finished object is not crocheted or knitted or anything really fiber related. It's actually sewing related. I bought a sofa and love seat, I guess about 2 months ago, because our old one was about 20 years old and it was falling apart. So we bought a new sofa. However, it came with throw pillows. Now the sofa is blue. Look at the color of the throw pillows. And yes, this is true to color. It is showing up true on the monitor. It's cream and black, which would have been fine, but then you got this kind of weird olivey, greeny, khaki color. Why would you put that with blue? It was the strangest. When it came in, I was like, did they put the wrong pillows with the wrong sofa? Anyway, there was no way I was leaving this with a blue sofa. It just didn't look right. It didn't look horrible, but it didn't look right. So, I also, at the same time I got the love seat and the sofa, I bought a great big, like, square ottoman that has storage in it. And it is literally linen colored, which means it's kind of an off-white. That isn't going to stay off-white in my house. Nothing stays white in my house. We won't talk about how dirty my socks look just from walking across the floor. And I do clean, but there's just no way it's going to stay white. So I decided I was going to make a washable cover for it. So I did. I actually have some kitchen curtains that I bought that are cafe curtains. And the colors that were in those kitchen curtains actually perfectly match the sofa. So I went out and bought another set of kitchen curtains just like them and cut them apart and made new pillow covers and an ottoman cover for the footstool. So I'm going to put the before and after pictures in so you can see for yourself what they look like. So that is my finished objects for this week. I am hoping to get to some of my material that I got from work a while back. I had a whole bunch of material that I showed you guys to make project bags out of. The sewing machine is sitting on the kitchen table left from doing the sewing in the living room, so now I'm hoping to get to that. So now we'll get started with my works in progress, but first I want to show you what I'm wearing. This is a crochet pattern. Most of you are very, very familiar with this pattern. A lot of you have made this pattern. This is the Virus Meets Granny shawl. And there it is. I've had this for a while now. I love this thing. It's big and oversized and cozy, and I've had it on all day long because I live in Pennsylvania and we've got a windstorm coming. If ever so often you'll hear it maybe on the video, there is a windstorm going up the East Coast right now. In fact, they're calling it a cyclone storm. It's supposed to really hit New England, like from New York up to Maine. Yesterday and today, and we had a lot of rain yesterday and it was just raw feeling out, and then today it's just cold and windy, and this has felt so snuggly on it. A lot of it is baby alpaca. It is Ella Ray. This is Ella Ray, and this is Ella Ray. And the story behind this was when I made this, I ran out of this color yarn, which is raspberry something or other. I remember raspberry was in the name. And one of you happened to, and I stopped at my yarn shop where I bought this, and she didn't have any in stock anymore. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to have too small of an afghan, or of a shawl. One of you kind viewers happened to see it at your local yarn store, and you got it for me. So, You know who you are. Thank you. I think of you every single time I wear this. And then the variegated yarn here is Ancient Arts Fiber. And it has, if you look close, it has that same kind of maroon color in it. So, and this is like a pearl gray color, but it is so soft. And like I said, it's just the right size to put around my shoulders, and it hangs there. It doesn't fall off. It's not one of those ones that you're constantly tugging to make sure it fits right. So this is one of my favorite shawls because I can just wrap it up and snuggle in it. It's like getting hugged by a blanket. So I've been snuggling in it all day long because it's, like I said, it's chilly out. So now we'll get on to my works in progress. I have put a good dent into my crocheted sweater. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 more rows before I reach the top of the shoulder. Here's what I've done this week. You can see my stitch marker. And then I've done that many rows, which is, let me think, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. I've done 15 rows since last week. And this is quite wide because it's going around my body, which means it's quite wide. But there it is. I'm hoping I don't look like a giant circus tent when I'm finished with this. But, yeah, that's my sweater that I'm working on. So I'm hoping to reach the shoulders and start over the front this week. So that's project number 1. Project number 2 is this particular yarn, which I showed you last week, and that is showing pretty true to color. I called it Periwinkle, and Kathy Tinkler said, "Periwinkle's blue, Katrina," and I went, "Oh, yeah, she's right." I don't know what color to call this. It's pink with a purple tone to it. As you can see, it's not lavender. It's definite pink, but it has purple undertones to it. So it is really pretty. It is a James C. Brett yarn. It's called Aztec, and it's an Aran weight. And I have 6 skeins of this. So what am I making with it? What have I been working on? Not much. My only progress this week was printing out the pattern. That's as far as I got with this because I was determined to finish the cowl, and then I got sidetracked with all the living room stuff. So let me show you a picture. This is a free Barocco pattern. It's just called the cable sweater to knit. And I said Barocco, but it's using Bernat yarn, so maybe it's a Bernat pattern. I thought it was Barocco. I could be wrong. It must be a Bernat pattern because they're using Bernat yarn. Anyway, here it is. And you can see the cables in it. They don't go down the sleeves. It's just on the front. Now, I might change the neckline because I don't really want it to be a turtleneck. So I will probably make it a scoop neck. That way, if I wanted to wear a shirt underneath it, I could. However, this is extremely soft because it does have alpaca in it. It's 90% acrylic, 10% alpaca. So it is really soft. So it's not like I need to wear something underneath it, but I'm going to be having to conserve some yarn with it. In fact, it might end up 3/4 length, just because when I'm looking at the yardage, it's saying for my size, I'm almost a skein short. And I don't know that this I think is maybe discontinued, this particular color. They still make the yarn itself, but I'm not sure if they still make this. And so I think I'm going to cut some yarn, some of the yardage just by changing the neckline a little bit and maybe making 3/4 length sleeves. Or I might, I don't think there's cabling on, oh, there is cabling on the sleeves. There's cabling on the sleeves. So maybe if I don't cable the sleeves, because cabling uses a little more yarn too, so I might not cable the sleeves. We'll see. We'll see how far it goes. Anyway, that's what I'm making, and this is how far I got with it. I know that's pathetic, but anyway, that's how far I got along with it. So now we'll take a look at what you guys are making. Now, before I do, though, I did want to point out that one of the pictures is by KB Fibers, and KB Fibers is one of the viewers here, and she just published a book for making, I think it's for crochet. I believe it's crochet. I could be totally wrong there. But anyway, it is for making preemie blankets. So anyway, congratulations to KB Fiber for getting her first book published. And if you are interested, I will show a shot of her holding the book. If you are interested, you can reach out to her over on Facebook. And if I don't know how much they are or anything like that, but if you want to get in contact with her, you can. So with that, I'm going to roll our show and tell. We're now ready for our update on the holiday along. Now, if you haven't been watching, there is a holiday along, which is basically knitting and crocheting and anything yarnish related, but mostly crocheting and knitting. And we are finishing up our projects for Christmas or starting new ones. As long as you are working on a project between October 1st and December 31st, you can enter into the holiday along over on Facebook. It is being sponsored by myself and by Sara Oliver, The Lass Who Knits. She has a podcast as well. And the two of us are doing this together. And we are each going to be giving a prize at the end of the 3 months. We will each pick a winner from the entries. But to make it a little bit fun, we also are clocking, actually I say we, but Sarah's doing all the hard work. She is actually taking your pictures. When you send in a finished object, make sure you say what weight yarn and how much yardage you used and whether it's knit or crochet, because she is tracking a travel journey from where she lives in Glasgow, Scotland, over to where I live, which is Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And then she's taking us all along for the ride and showing pictures of what towns we are stopping in, because for every ever many yards that you knit or crochet counts towards mileage. And then she's mapped out a trip, and we see how far each week the teams have gone. Now, last week I talked about Team Crochet. This week, I'm going to tell you, this is week 2, I'm going to tell you the progress of Team Knit. Now, if you want to check out this week's progress for Team Crochet, go over to Sara's channel, because week 2, the crochet team results are over on her podcast. Next week, I'll be doing Team Crochet and she'll be doing Team Knit. So, because we kind of thought it was a little redundant for both of us to be doing the same statistics and talking about the same places. So this week I am doing Team Knit, and Team Knit has a total of 515 miles. They are on leg 2 of the journey around the world, and they are traveling right now between London in the UK and Paris, France. They are currently stopped in Normandy and are staying in a little town called Rouen. Now, Rouen is known for, there's a cathedral. The Rouen Cathedral was named the tallest building in the world from 1876 until 1880. It is also the city where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in 1431. And it lies on the river Seine and is the capital of the region of Normandy, and is loved for its cobblestoned pedestrian town center with medieval half-timbered houses. It's only 80 miles to get to Paris from here, and actually by now that you're seeing this filming, I'm sure we've probably gotten there, because there have been a couple of entries over on the Team Knit portion of the Holiday Along. So, yeah, I'm going to insert some pictures of Rouen so that you can see what it looks like. And if you're on Team Knit, you can see where you are right now. It is time to talk about last week's giveaway and who the winner is, and to show you the yarn for this week's giveaway. Now, the yarn that was given away last week, the winner was a week before last, the first week in October. The winner was Jean Horn. Jean has acknowledged and claimed her yarn. So last week's yarn that we had was this. It was called Wisterious. Oh, it's showing up really good in color, in the colors too. Sometimes it shows up good, sometimes it doesn't. That's pretty true to color. It's a little bit more lavendery. It's looking blue. It's not. It's actually lavender. And last week's winner of this yarn, I will announce today. And let's see, what was this yarn? I think I put it, it's called Wisterious. I forget, it was Starry Sock Yarn. I think it was Starry Sock Yarn. And it is a merino-based wool. And so the winner of this, for this week, is Granny Squared. So, Granny Squared, please send me an email at KatrinasCreations@yahoo.com, and I will get that out to you as soon as I get your information. So, this week's winner is Granny Squared. Now, the yarn for next week's giveaway, because we're doing a giveaway every week in October, because it's my 3rd year anniversary for podcasting, so why not? Let's give away yarn. So this week's yarn is from Plymouth Yarn Company. It is called Encore. It is made in Turkey. It's 75% acrylic, 25% wool. And there are 200 grams of this, and I would say this is between a worsted and an Aran weight, just looking at the needle and hook size. So here it is. It is gray, nice neutral color that you can put with lots of other things, or you could make a cowl like I did with that much yarn. So anyway, here it is, holding it upside down. There you can see it, and that's pretty true to color. So, in order to enter this week, what do you have to do? You need to be a subscriber. You must be over the age of 18 and give me a thumbs up And in the comments down below, let me know whether you would like to see all of the pictures from the holiday along at the end of the 3 months, or if you want to see them each month, at the end of each month. So that's all you have to do for to be entered in next week's giveaway. Again, be a subscriber. You must be over the age of 18. Give me a thumbs up, and in the comments, let me know whether you want to see the pictures from the holiday long at the end of each month, or if you want to see them at the end of December when the giveaway is completely over, or the make-along is completely over. So that is the giveaway update and the holiday along update. Now let's take a look at my acquisitions for this week. My knit crate came in, and as I talked about earlier in the podcast, my video was a day late because it didn't get delivered. It got lost in the mail and continued to get lost, and so it finally showed up on Thursday instead of on Friday when it was supposed to have been here. So it was almost a week late. But anyway, here it is. I have 2 skeins of this. I'm just going to show one. It's Vitalana, and it is a chain ply yarn. There you go, you can see that. And the colors are pretty true. It's a tonal green. And each skein has 328 yards in it, or 300 meters. It's a 100% fine Peruvian Highland wool. It is very, very soft. Like I said, I have 2 skeins of this. And Knit Crate always gives you a pattern book that has a knitted pattern, a crochet pattern, and then there's a sock pattern, and there actually was an extra pattern in it this time. This month, there was the shawl that's on the cover. That was the knitted pattern. And then the crocheted pattern was actually a baby bunting. So it's a bonnet and a baby bunting, bundling blanket. If I make either of the patterns, it'll be the one on the cover here. I have no babies in our near future, especially not for me, but no, none of my children are expecting any more children for me to be a grandchild, for me to be a grandparent. Yeah, for me to be a grandchild. Yeah. Can you believe my oldest granddaughter, now she's 16, she went college looking this week. That's just not allowed. I'm not ready to be a grandma who is a college student. But yeah, she went and checked out her first college because she's a junior this year. So next year will be her senior year, and she's scoping things out because she's thinking of doing a little dual enrollment, which means you go to college and do your senior year at the same time. Her parents aren't ready for this, and I'm totally not ready for this. Anyway, back onto the knitting and crochet talk, now that I'm feeling like really, really old. But this is a knit pattern for the socks. There we go. So this is a knit pattern for the socks. It's called Inca Trail Socks. And they included a crochet pattern in socks this time too, called Stonemason Socks. Knit Crate has the membership box, which is what I get, which is $24.99. They have a sock crate box, which is $19.99, which is just 1 skein of yarn. And they have, I think you get the same magazine, because I think the sock patterns in here are what's given to you for the sock crate. And then there's a Malabrigo, which is a brand of yarn that comes out of Peru. That one, that's another box that they offer. It's more expensive. I don't know the price of it. I know Malabrigo's nice yarn, but I really like the membership box, which is what I get. And if you're interested in it, you can get 20% off of your first box by using the coupon code KCreations20. And the link to that is down below, and I'll talk more about all of the links below during the Come and Get It section. Poof, I've changed clothes and hairstyle. Actually, it's a whole other day. I sat down to do the editing, and realized I completely forgot to film a segment, so here I am. So anyway, while I'm at it, I will tell you what I'm wearing. This is the Swedish Lines shawl. It is a Bluprint pattern. It sometimes shows up in their clearance section. It is knitted with baby alpaca. It's super, super soft. It's very lightweight, but super soft. And it's a good-sized shawl. I mean, it wraps around my shoulders and hangs. So it's perfect. It's not something I would wear like bib style like this. It would be too long because it's deep. But for over the shoulders, it's wonderful, and it's very soft. It's also very warm, so I won't be putting that back on. So the segment that I forgot to film yesterday is I'm going to be inserting some clips in a few minutes, short little video of a place I went this past week. Now, my work once a year goes on a retreat for staff building and just for like learning or education type of thing. And the majority of the people in my department not only go to daycare centers, but they also do puppet shows throughout our county as like a library promotion and to promote kids getting library cards. So every year they put on, or at least once or twice a year, they put on all puppet shows at a whole bunch of the elementary schools and different centers and things like that. So they wanted to see something with puppets, and I got to go along. I don't have anything to do with the puppets because I'm the circulation clerk, but I'm the only circulation clerk in my entire department. So I got to go along for the ride, and it was fun. It was all marionettes. The neat thing, though, about where we went is the location itself. It's down outside of Bethesda, Maryland, right in the middle of town. But you would never know you were in the middle of town because it's kind of off by itself. It's called Glen Echo Park. Now, Glen Echo Park, you're probably wondering, why am I showing this on a Knit and Crochet podcast? Because the park itself began in the 1890s, and when it first started, it was a craft community. They were there to teach and educate on different varieties of handicrafts. This would have been during the arts and crafts movement that was so popular here in the U.S. So actually, Clara Barton, the founder of the Red Cross, was one of the board members, and her home is just off of it's a historic site right off of the park. But the park itself is kind of neat to me in a couple of ways, and I'll explain in a few minutes. But you park in this parking lot, and then you walk through this path through the woods, and you cross a little wooden bridge and look at the creek down below, and then you eventually get into what was originally this craft community that was then, it went bankrupt in the early 1900s, and it was bought and turned into an amusement park. The buildings, the rides are long gone, except for the historic merry-go-round, which is under construction right now. It's having some restoration work done to it. The rest of the rides are gone, but it is so Art Deco, it's like walking into a time warp. There are still ticket booths there from the 1930s. The popcorn stand is still there. There's all the neon signage and everything, and just the architecture screams 1930s Art Deco. It's really interesting. If you like that time period, it's really fascinating to see. But the other interesting thing with it is that's where my parents went on their very first date when they were 13 years old. My mom and dad went down. My parents, my dad's parents drove them to the park, and then they spent the day there. My mother got sick on the very first ride she went on, and my father's kind of nursed her the entire day as she threw up because she got sick. My mom does not handle rides at all. And they stuck together. So I guess it was meant to be because they were both 13 at the time. And then her parents picked them up at the end of the day. So I took a bunch of pictures from my parents because I thought they would enjoy the reminiscing. And then I thought I would show it to you all too because I just thought it was kind of cool. And the fact that it was an arts and crafts area, and over the years now, because the amusement park closed in 1968, it was bought by the National Park Service and it was turned into a park that actually promotes arts and crafts once again. So hence there's children's theaters in there, there's the puppet theater in there. There are small little huts as you walk into the park that have pottery, and they have stone cutting and, different craft items. I didn't see knitting or crocheting. They need to work on that part. But yeah, so anyway, it is once again what it was intended to be when it began. So I'm going to show you the pictures. Now, in one of the pictures, I think it's one of the very first pictures, you'll see a round stone building. That's the original building from the arts and crafts time, from the 1890s. The rest of the buildings that are there are from the 1930s. And while the amusement park equipment is gone, some of the buildings where they were housed are still in place. You'll see the Cuddle Up. The Cuddle Up is like a pavilion now, but at one time that was where the teacup ride was. And there's another pavilion that was used for the bumper cars. And yeah, it's really neat. And there's a Spanish ballroom, which you cannot see very well in the pictures because the trees were so low. I tried taking a picture and you can't see it real well. And it was locked, so I couldn't get into the room to take a picture. But it's a historic ballroom where people get married and have like their wedding receptions and things at now. So I'm going to roll that segment. My parents enjoyed watching it, by the way. Mom's like, it looks so different from what I remember it. And I was like, well, my parents are 79 and 80 years old, so that was quite a few years ago that they're remembering it. That would have been like 67 years ago. So anyway, here it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed seeing it. Over in our Come and Get It section, before I get started, I will explain a little bit about the links that I share, the different sales that are going on at different yarn places and craft supply places around the internet. All of those links are right down below in the description box. If you click the little Show More button, it drops down and you can read it down there. And all of the sales are listed alphabetically. So I try to announce the sales alphabetically, and you can just scroll down and they are in alphabetical order, just to make it easier for everybody. But if you click on those links down below, it will take you directly over to that website. And I have the coupon codes. I put them up as I talk about the sales. So I am an affiliate for these places, so I do get a small commission. So if you do buy from these places and you buy from me, I do get a little bit of a commission out of it. Not a huge amount, but it's enough that I can afford to do the giveaways and things like that. It helps just to kind of support the channel and buy you more yarn. So let's get started. Annie's Craft Store. They have over in their, I always try to pick a pattern from their crochet and their knitting section that I think are really pretty and share them with you. So this week I went through their signature collection in both knit and crochet. And in the crochet section, they have an absolutely gorgeous cowl, which is like what I showed earlier that goes around your neck. It's sort of like a shawl that you wear around the neck without all the bulk of the things hanging down, the edges hanging down. But there's a beautiful cowl, and I will stick a picture up. It's called the Fair Isle Granny Crochet Cowl. You have no idea how much splicing I did to say that. I tried 3 times. It got that messed up. So we'll try it again. It's called the Fair Isle Granny Crochet Cowl. It runs between $6 to $8 for the pattern, depending on whether you want a digital download or if you want a paper copy. Over in the knit section in their signature collection, I also chose a cowl over there since I'm making cowls right now, and it's called the Norwegian Knit Cowl. I didn't have to splice that one. I could say it the very first time. And it's also in the $6 to $8 range. So this is what it looks like. Bluprint has 50% off of their Sprightly acrylic yarns. Now, Sprightly Acrylic is their name brand over at Bluprint, and it is 100% acrylic, but it's like a premium acrylic. It's a nice, it's not like your typical big box store, like it's not like Red Heart or something. It's a better quality. Anyway, it's 50% off over there right now. They also have 50% off of their Cloudborn brand yarns. Now, Cloudborn are natural fibers. They come in various different fibers. I've used quite a few of them. They're very nice also. And again, those are 50% off as well. You do need the coupon code "That's a Sale" to get the 50% off of the Sprightly or Cloudborn yarns. Now, they are also offering 55% off of Cloudborn Merino Alpaca Sport Kits and Supplies. Now, that you do not need a coupon code for. They've already discounted them. And again, that is 55% off of the Cloudborn Merino Alpaca Sport Kits and Supplies. Create for Less is running a fall sale. Their Red Heart Super Saver is on sale for $4.29. Consumer Crafts, as always, has the best price on your dishcloth yarn, which is your sugar and cream cotton, and it's $1.97. The Dollar Tree. Yes, the Dollar Tree sells yarn. You don't always find it. Sometimes you find it in the store. I have found it there before, but you can also order it online. You do need to buy the entire case, so just make sure you read how many skeins of yarn you're actually buying. But I looked into a little bit of this Isaac Mizrahi yarn that I've seen over there because I've never heard of it before. They have a brown and a crew and a red. It's called Broadway, Isaac Mizrahi Broadway, and they have it in those 3 colors, and it has metallic accents in it. So if you're thinking Christmas, it's sparkly. Especially the red with sparkly for Christmas. And it's $1 a skein. There are 325 yards per skein. So, yeah, if it's more yarn than what you need, get together with some of your friends and order it together and then divide it up. How can you go wrong at $1 a yarn or $1 a skein? And you can order it and have it picked up at your local Dollar Tree. So you don't even have to deal with shipping if you have a Dollar Tree near you and can just get it shipped there and pick it up. So anyway, it's a good deal. $1 per skein of yarn. You can't go too far wrong. Over at Hobium, their Star of the Month yarn, they have several over there, but the one I've been really looking at a lot has been the Lauren Natural Baby yarn. It's 95 cents per skein. It's a cotton, so it would be good for your dishcloths, things like that. It's 95 cents a skein. However, if you buy it in a package of 10, you actually get it for 86 cents per skein. So that's how it breaks down. The more you buy, the cheaper the price. Over at Ice Yarn, I went looking over there because it's a little overwhelming. There's so much to choose from. But I went looking in the bargain bins in the worsted weight yarn, and they have a yarn. It's called Wool Cord Aran Light. It comes in a couple of different colors. It's 75 cents per skein. And if you get and it's a package of 8. So yeah, it's 75 cents per skein, and there's 8 skeins in the package. So it comes out to $6 for 8 skeins of yarn. So that's a pretty good deal. And I've bought ice yarns before, and if you're familiar with the Secret Yarnery, she buys almost exclusively from ice yarns. So yeah, that one's neat to check out. Knit Picks sent me some exciting news this week. You know, Knit Picks, they sell yarn, which applies to everybody, but pattern-wise, they always have leaned more towards knitting, hence the name Knit Picks. They finally have woke up to reality, and they have a second site within their site called We Crochet. Now, the yarn is still the same because yarn is yarn, whether you are knitting or crocheting. So they're both the same. However, if you look at my description box down below, scroll all the way down. It's almost the last one down. Like I said, they're alphabetical. It's called We Crochet. If you click on that, it will take you over to Knit Picks We Crochet site. And you'll see the same yarns there that you see over on Knit Picks. They still have the palette yarn, which is one of my favorites. They have the Hawthorn, which is also one of my favorite yarns. They have all of that, but they have a bunch of crochet kits and patterns over there now, as well as crochet accessories. They always had a few, but this is specifically for crocheters. So, yes, they finally realized that knitting is not the only craft with yarn. So, yeah, way to go, Knit Picks. So, yes, that's one to definitely check out. I was having a little fun over there looking, and I think I might be wrong, but there might even be free patterns to check out. And did you know that Hobium and Ice Yarns also offer free patterns too on their sites? You just need to go look for them a little bit. Over at Leisure Arts, now I'm going to show you some pictures with that too, because in their crochet section, they have a mandala Afghan book. There are 10 different Afghan patterns that are in the mandala style, which is round, you know what mandala is. Anyway, it's $9.99, so you're paying $1 per pattern is what it works out to. And I'll show you a picture. And then over in their knit section, I know there was someone who was making a prayer shawl the other day, and my former co-worker's working on a prayer shawl. So I thought, well, let's look at some prayer shawls. So yes, there is Knit Prayer Shawls pattern book. It runs $7.99, and it is a downloaded pattern, and there are 15 shawl patterns in there. And actually, when I looked at the cover, I've seen this book before. I think I checked it out at the library, which is always a neat tip. If you haven't realized it or not, most of your libraries carry knitting and crochet books. And sometimes you can look at a book through there, at least for me, I try to get it through the library first, look through it and see if there's enough patterns in there to make it worthwhile my purchasing it. But anyway, this is $7.99. It's a download. And if you don't know what a prayer shawl is, it's shawls that you make. You can knit them, you can crochet them. You make them, and they're given to people when they're going through a really tough time in their life. And generally, you're praying or thinking about, that person's needs while you're making it for them. So that way, when they put it on, they feel like they're hugged with kind thoughts and prayers towards them. So that's what a prayer shawl is. Lion Brand. Lion Brand is offering 40% off of all of their yarns and kits through October. I'm sorry if you see me swallowing a lot. I've got a scratchy throat. Sinuses. So anyway, that's why I keep pausing and swallowing. I have a little sore throat. But anyway, they have 40% off all of their yarns and kits. You do need to use a coupon code OCT40, OCT40. So that is our Come and Get It section for this week, and it's actually the end of our video. So once again, Granny Squared, get in contact with me so I can get your yarn out to you. And Wednesday's video this week, since we are doing a holiday along, I thought it would be interesting to revisit the history of crochet. Now, I have done a video about the history of crochet before, but it's been several years ago, so I'm hoping to get a little bit more updated detail. So, yeah, if you're a crocheter or a knitter, you might find it interesting because the following week we're going to do a history of knitting. So I thought that would be kind of fun to do. So again, Wednesday's video will be the history of crochet. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and stop by. We enjoy chatting that with each other back and forth here on YouTube, but over on the Facebook group as well. And I love seeing your pictures over on the holiday along. If you did notice, the show and tell doesn't have quite as many entries because a lot of the entries that are coming in are for the holiday along, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. So that's it for this week. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.